Hi, I'm Taylor Green, and welcome to Coursen's Corner.
Well, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Doing well.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. So I spent a lot of my childhood around like really strong independent women who love to cook. And so I remember my mother like getting up early in the morning to bake bread. I remember spending Sundays at my grandmother's house where we would go to like mass at like 7:30 in the morning, come home, and she would immediately start making like Sunday dinner. And you know, as a 47-year-old bachelor, I've had to learn how to fend for myself like over time. But where has what was like your original introduction to like food and the magic that it can include?
A little bit of the same. Mom, she was a stay-at-home mom and also managed a little bit of a food business for my father at one point in time. So her life definitely revolved around cooking dinner for everybody. She even had a little snack box that she kept in the back seat of the car next to the trash can, very organized. Picked that up from her as well. So it was actually a Mother's Day brunch. I was 14. I cooked brunch for everybody. Simple, like Caesar salad, mashed potatoes, steaks. We lived in the country. And I thought, this is the best mashed potatoes I've ever had. I'm a chef. I'm going to cook. But it wasn't until much later in life when I was able to monetize it and come around to make it more of a business and not just a passion.
There's a science to mashed potatoes that people because they can be like too clunky, they can be like too soupy.
Yep.
There is what is your secret to a good mashed potato?
I like to leave the skin on.
Okay.
In most cases, I use baby potatoes because the skin's softer. A little bit of milk and add as you go so you don't get that consistency.
Right.
But a hand mash.
Okay.
Always a hand mash.
Butter, salt, garlic.
All of the above.
All of the above.
Yes.
Okay.
All the staples.
And a hand mash, not a machine mash.
Yeah, to do it with the hand.
Okay. Okay. And what is the perfect consistency of an ideal mashed potato?
It almost like makes a little sound when you scoop it with the
Like
fork.
the dollop,
a little,
right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. It almost like if you can feel the air.
Yep.
Like almost like the suction of it.
That's a good mashed potato right
there.
there.
That is a good mashed potato.
Yeah.
Especially with a good steak. Yeah. If I ever had my last meal.
Unbeatable. Yeah.
Yeah. Steak mashed potatoes.
I was probably 27 until I ever had a steak without mashed potatoes. When I was a kid.
Well, I remember
there was no eating steak without mashed potatoes.
Right. Until I went to, I think it was in France, and it was like frites, steak and frites. It was like French fries. I was like, wait, you can have French fries in the steak?
Yeah. This is indulgent.
Say less. I'm involved. And then I guess that love for food has just always been with you ever since that 14-year-old brunch. And now you have started the Argent Healing Method, where you're preparing. Is it prepared meals? Is it? Tell us a little bit more about.
We do a little bit of everything. It's a multifaceted wellness platform.
Okay.
So we're cooking for individuals here locally in Austin. Meal prep. We're catering events for retreats. We're doing corporate lunches, which is actually a nice change and a lot of fun to work with people that really don't have the time to go and get a healthy meal without seed oils, grass-fed beef, etc.
Right.
We offer yoga, so it's very multifaceted. But
I love that.
Yeah. We're a wellness platform.
I was the meal planning thing has always been something I've been like very interested in because like I'm a single guy. It's me and the dog. Like I enjoy making breakfast because it's easy. It's steak and eggs, and then I eat out quite a bit. And so the whole trying to eat healthy and consistently while. Because I'll do meal prep. Like I'll meal prep every Sunday. Yeah. The problem is that by like Tuesday, I'm tired of the stuff I've made.
So I prepare everything on Sunday as well. Great day to do the meal prep. And then I'll deliver to anybody in the Austin area. If you're outside of Austin, we still deliver.
Make an arrangement.
Yeah. We make arrangements so that, you can get that accessibility to the good food.
So how long do meals typically last?
Yeah, like the whole week. So they get them on Monday. Usually they're eating them Monday through Friday.
Right.
So it's more of an office style for a lot of my clients. They're taking them to work with them. So they just need Monday through Friday.
More like a lunch type thing.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. A lot of them, and even people that work at home that can't necessarily leave or can't take the time to prepare the meal at home because they're still working. So 4 to 5 days. A lot of times I'll even eat mine on Saturday. We're not using anything that's, toxic chemicals. We're not using any canola oils or seed oils. So it stays pretty fresh.
Fresh, right.
Yeah. And that's the goal is fresh food.
Fresh food is, fresh whole food is what everyone should be consuming. It's just really hard for everyone to get.
Yeah, those single ingredient foods.
Exactly. Exactly. What have you found to be the more popular meals that you offer?
I have a kimchi fried rice that I do with either bison, ground beef, salmon. I've done it with turkey before, but the kimchi fried rice is probably at the top of the list. And I've got a couple different chicken salads that people go pretty crazy over.
Chicken salads?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, chicken, like a rotisserie chicken salad over greens. I did a tzatziki one last week, so it was a tzatziki base with the chicken. And
when I was living in DC, my buddy started Kava.
Oh,
which
really?
Which is a great restaurant. And so
delicious. And so accessible. And that's what that's kind of where my niche is too, is directing towards how can you make that type of food almost like a drive-through situation.
Exactly.
You can bring a bag of food straight to your office and you just have to heat it up.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
How's it working out for you? The website's gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Really well done.
Thank you. It's working out pretty well. I definitely am here to network and find a bigger clientele base. That particular service that I offer, Meal Prep, does keep me very specific in where I can do that kind of work.
Right.
So partnering with yoga instructors, health facilitators, anybody in that business, even with smaller companies and doing corporate retreats so that I can get to a larger bases, get into different parts of the world. I love the meal prep. It's definitely something great to look forward to every week, but the consistency of it could grow. I could have more people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I could always cook for more people.
We can always cook for more people. You sound like my mother. We want more people.
I can cook for an army. So, as many people as need healthy food in Austin, I'm here.
That's great. So you grew up in Austin?
Yep.
Right?
I was born at St. David's South.
And then you grew up down like around Waco?
I grew up off of Lake Austin, Cuernavaca.
Oh, okay.
And
so super local.
Yeah, very local. And then when I was about 6, we moved to Dripping Springs. We got some land out there and a bunch of animals. And I rodeoed from age 6 to about 16, 17.
How did you get into the rodeo life?
Camp, the YO Ranch.
Oh.
The YO Ranch out in Kerrville. They had camps. My brother, who's 7 years older than me, he had gone to camp for years and years there, and he was already on a camp counselor by the time I started going.
He's older?
Yeah, he's 7 years older. So I won the barrel race my first year at cowboy camp there, and I came home. I said, "Daddy, getting me a horse." And then I was professional like 2 years later. I mean, we were, I was in the truck, on the road, or on a horse somewhere in Texas or somewhere in the country more than I was in the classroom.
Wow.
Most years of my life.
Did you like that?
I did like that. I didn't realize the impact it would have on me as an adult. Not having that consistency of being in one place and kind of getting used to being on the road a lot.
Yeah, that like nomadic lifestyle.
Yeah, it was very nomadic. We lived out of a horse trailer with the nice living quarters and a bathroom and everything.
Right,
but,
yeah. No.
But yeah, we were on the road 80% of the time. And after school, straight on the horse.
A lot of my professional career, living here in Austin is the longest place I've ever lived, because even when I was with like the military, we were bouncing around, either deployments, whatnot. When I was with the government, we were always moving. Even when I got over into like the private sector, I think I don't know how many different places I lived, but it got to the point where I had to like look at the currency that was in my pocket to know which country I was in, because
it's really unsettling for the nervous system. It's hard to ground down into yourself.
Yeah. It's not just hard on the nervous system. It's hard on like people are like, how come you're like, in your 40s and like single and never married? It's like, I was never home.
Yeah.
Like I was married to the job for so long. But.
And how long have you been in Austin now?
12 years.
Great.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're an Austinite now.
Officially an Austinite. Yeah. I think it's like a 10-year
it's 10 years.
mark. Right? I remember when I was living in New York, they were like, you're not a New Yorker until you've been there for 10 years.
Yeah. Whatever the
Except for the people who lived in New York or who were like from New York. There's like two kinds of New Yorkers, right? There's the people who were born there and have never left. And then there's the people who have been there for at least 10 years. And the two of them are at odds with one another.
Well, I could say the same thing for Austin.
Well, so of all of your travels, did you have a favorite place?
As far as work travels go, Yes, I did a retreat about 5 days, 5 nights, 6 days in Belize on the island of
Belize
Kiko.
is beautiful.
So pretty.
It's a real pain in the butt to get there. But
It's
once
not
you're there,
easy.
you're in paradise.
Yeah, there's a couple of flights and a
It's
couple
a plane,
taxis.
a train, a boat, an automobile, a helicopter. I think you have to snowboard at one point.
Haven't done the helicopter part yet, but yeah, the water taxi, all of that. So my dad lived there for 3 years with my stepmom. They were inland.
Wow.
And my stepmom, who's a psychic, we have had a few retreats together, but we had a pretty massive co-ed retreat in Belize on the island of Kikoker. So we got to do all of these wonderful island activities, and it was a past life regression retreat. So then we were doing these super deep dives into different lifetimes. And I prepared lunch and dinner for the whole retreat. We probably had about 23 people, 25 including the hosts. And we were in the penthouse of the Belize penthouse. And so you had to go up quite a few double backing stairs that had no anti-slip grip or anything on them. And, it's humid, it's raining. And so the kitchen was up there and the dining was down in the common space. So that was the most work labor-wise that I've ever done, but it was the most fulfilling.
There's a hotel in Grill, Jamaica that I really like, and the name of the hotel is escaping me right now. But it sits on one of those bluff cliffs, and to get down to the beach, it's those rocky. You feel like you're on an episode of Game of Thrones, trying to
I got this. Don't
scale the
down.
ivory tower. Can we go into the past life experiences thing a little bit? I've heard it explained a couple different ways. One is that we are starting on a low end and then working towards a high end, so that each iteration we try to get a little bit better until we get to a nirvana of a certain point. Another is that we have to go through all the iterations of experience. So we have to come through as this kind of a person, as this kind of person, as this kind of animal. At one point, I'm sure we are the all-seeing, all-knowing rock who knows everything but just can't say anything to anyone, right? What is your interpretation of the past lives? Is it evolutionary? Is it experiential?
I think it's experiential. And it's also dimensional. And then there's also timelines. So
I will go deep in the paint with you.
What came up in the retreat for me was dimensional. It wasn't a life here on Earth. It was a life somewhere else. And for me, that's not really so much evolutionary as it is experiential.
When you say somewhere else, do you mean another...
a very Avatar-looking world.
Oh, really? I've never had that experience, but I've had the...
glowing plants and...
Really?
Moss that breathed. It was beautiful.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was
Have
really
you ever
pretty.
read... They just made a TV show about it. The TV show did a good job, but not a great job. It was called Dark Matter.
I've seen the show.
Have you read the book?
I haven't read the book.
The book is fascinating.
Okay.
Because the book the book kind of goes into the different worlds that they explore. Some of them are very much like that because of either psychedelic influence or biochemical alterations or interactions with other elements from other worlds. I've always kind of been of the interdimensional kind of being if I went this way, but my other self went that way, with that
timelines.
Yeah, kind of like a multiverse type of experience.
Yeah, like in Spider-Man, the last one with Tom Holland, where all the Spider-Men come
all
through,
the
and
Spider-Mans
you're
are pointing to each other. But there was also this really fascinating article that came out in, I think it was Harvard Business Review or the Harvard Journal or something like that, where they were talking about when people talk about aliens or extraterrestrials or things like that, that war of good versus evil is actually interdimensional. That they're just traversing timelines, coming in and out, and that's what we're experiencing, and that's why they seem to be able to move in ways that we can't explain because they've figured out some kind of interdimensional wormhole pathway engineering
different type of technology,
right? Which would actually make the wormhole itself a physical construct, not a what's the word I would look for? Like some kind of physics anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
It would literally mean that those are tunnels that were engineered by something more intelligent than us.
I mean, just like Interstellar.
Yes.
When he falls into that timeline of.
Well, that was the interesting thing that the TV show did well. That the book on dark matter, how our mind has to. Because our mind can't see 5-dimensionally, so it has to construct a 5-dimensional space in a 3-dimensional construct.
Yeah. We're just trying to conceptualize
right.
it. Mm-hmm.
And so, like in the show, it's this ever-long connex that they're in.
Yeah.
But Arrival did a really good job with that too, like messing with time.
Yeah. I mean, you know what messed with time really good was that show Lost.
Oh.
That really was timelines.
The problem with Lost was that they asked too many questions and didn't give enough answers.
There was no answers in that show.
No, and that's one of those things where it's like when the writers have an idea for 5 seasons but it makes too much money, so the network wants 12. And they're like, I don't know the story.
Yeah, there's nothing else.
Yeah. Do you watch The Bear by any chance?
We actually started watching that a couple of weeks ago. We've only seen a couple episodes.
It really, and I'm always fascinated by, because I would never say I'm a chef or a cook, but I enjoy cooking, and I've spent a lot of time in kitchens. Especially when I was on like the protective side of the house with, luminaries or dignitaries or public figures or whoever, they'd be in the dining room, and I'd be in the kitchen, like looking through like the service window, just making sure everything's going okay.
Get over there.
But I've always been of the opinion that the best shows, like about restaurants, are the ones that take place in the kitchen. The best shows about television or networks are the ones that take place in the control room. The best shows about like sports or anything like that, or what takes place in the connex where everyone's like calling out the camera angles and stuff like that.
Yeah, the back of house experience.
But the back of house experience where it's just like, it's organized chaos.
100%.
It is organized chaos. And anyone who's like, I've been a dishwasher, I've been a server, I've been an expediter, I've been a waiter. And just like the back of the house is always the 86 this and let's get this and fire that and turning
shouting.
It is you can't script that kind of a show, but somehow the Bear figured out how to get it done.
Yeah, they're doing a good job. We're only a couple episodes in. There's another one that was really good about the restaurant life called Bittersweet. I only had 1 or 2 seasons. Yeah. Based in New York, it kind of more of a fine dining experience and what they go through.
Did you ever see Chef with Jon Favreau?
Yes.
Jon Favreau and John Leguizamo?
Yeah.
Right when he's like
so good.
So good. But what
they have the show as well, where they go around with that one's
and then they have another one where Favreau like goes around and like talks to all the different people.
Yeah, there's a great one on Hog Island with oysters.
Yes.
That's probably my favorite
one. That's really
one.
good.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. They bring him on.
Yeah, but the other really cool, but you'll appreciate this, like living in Austin too. So there's that scene where they come to Nashville and they go to Franklin's. Then there's a scene where they're driving down South Congress over the bridge, and so you see it like you'd be looking at where Rainey is now, except Rainey wasn't there yet.
Yeah.
And it's just this like, there's no skyline.
Yeah,
it's just the bridge, beautiful. And then like this like clear open sky.
Rainey's
and now you look at it.
Own downtown now.
It's
can't even believe it.
I'm pretty sure like Texas has changed the state bird to the crane because there's just so many cranes.
So I've been gone for 4 years. I moved back last summer, but
so you left what, just before the pandemic?
Yeah. Kind of right around when it was hitting. Yeah. So I came back to Austin and it's just a completely different
insane.
place.
When I first moved to Austin, like the domain was like a Dick's Sporting Goods and like a pop-up shop.
Oh yeah.
And you didn't go to the east side unless you wanted to get like your car stolen or get killed.
Yeah.
And now both are just like completely gentrified. It's 100%. Completely crazy. It's completely crazy.
I love going over to the east side.
Now it's beautiful.
Favorite places
my tattoo shops are over there. Some great bars over there. Some awesome restaurants.
East End Tattoo?
Electric 13.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll be actually back there on Friday for them to finish my sock finally.
Nice. Yeah, congratulations.
All of my tattoos are from that shop.
Okay. Well, all mine, East End has moved around quite a bit, but my guy Sam, he's there.
Which one was your first one?
The Be Here Now on
that's
my
right,
foot.
On your foot.
Yeah.
We talked about this the other day.
I waited until I was 19, and then I went through a 6-month period, which is where most of
what was
the
your
artists
most recent
from.
one?
Most recent one. It's been a while. Probably the
Like
fingers.
with fingers?
Yeah.
Did that get spicy on the bone like that?
No.
No?
The only spicy place is the foot. And you said you're getting a sock. Does that include your foot?
No, it starts at my ankle and comes
Okay,
up to like just below my my calf.
Yeah, no, once you get below that ankle.
A little spicy.
That's
The only one that really got me was when he started coming up here. I was like, "Are you tattooing my throat?" Because he was like, right. I was like, because I wanted it so that I was still in a suit, you wouldn't
Yeah,
see
so
it.
you can
Now
hide
I
it.
don't care.
No, I
Can't even tell you the last
definitely
time I was
I
wearing a
gave up
suit.
on that idea a while ago.
Yeah.
I got some on I'm doing the whole leg, the whole right sleeve with Sam. He did a peony on the back of my thigh, and I used that numbing cream
Yeah.
with the lidocaine and arnica and emu oil.
I've never done any of that.
Didn't feel a thing. I hear
Really?
the gun going, and I'm like, I can't see.
Right.
You gonna start? He goes, I'm outlined a whole petal already, and I'm like,
wow.
no way.
My very first, I'm a pretty tough guy. Like,
Yeah.
But I was so nervous before my first tattoo. Like I was on YouTube, like what are the most painful parts of the
no.
body? What do you like get a good night's sleep before?
Totally in the head.
I had like these like playlists. I had this like breath meditation app I was going to listen to.
How big was the piece?
This one.
Okay, so you know,
Pretty big.
Yeah.
But he
sizable.
started, and I was like, oh. And then we just were like shooting the shit the whole time. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
fine. This is nothing.
Yeah, tattoos aren't for everybody, but for most people,
No.
it's not that bad.
Yeah. And I kind of got mine like post therapy to kind of like serve as mementos and to honor some memories that I had. So I didn't have to.
It's a great form of therapy.
It was a great form of therapy.
Yeah, it really is.
A great form of therapy.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing when you were traveling around?
I moved to Sedona.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, there was a couple things that happened. The lockdown here in Austin and some of the commotion. And I was like, I think I'm going to go to Sedona. It was just really calling me. And I was there for a few years. Got hired to do a really cool Akashic Records retreat in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. About 2 summers ago now. And so I went to Jackson, and coming from Austin, there's lots of greenery, there's lots of water, there's lots of sunshine, everybody's outside, and you go to a place like Sedona where there's not really any bars. There's one juice place. It's 2 hours to go to Phoenix to get anything that you might need. You're in the country. Like there's nothing there.
There's a couple quartz shops.
Yeah.
And a dog psychic.
Yeah, you can get crystals, you can get incense, you can get sage.
You can get all the woo.
You can get whatever you need there. But it was so wonderful to be in that space for a really long time. Take a break from the city and really do some identity searching and working through some really long drilled in patterns that weren't serving me anymore. So I went from Sedona to Jackson in summer. I saw Jackson and I thought, why am I not living here?
Jackson's pretty beautiful.
It's only a 13-hour drive. I can do that. So I flew back. I was there for a week. I extended my stay, stayed for about a week and a half, went back to Sedona, packed up my stuff, drove straight back, and was there for about a year and a half, and then relocated back to Austin last summer.
Did you feel called back to Austin, or was it just something that...
I did. Yeah, I needed community again. I didn't have the luxury of making a ton of connections and...
Well, I feel like Sedona, I've been out there maybe like 4 or 5 times in my life. And there's definitely like a very unique energy. Like, and Austin has it too. Like there are certain places I've been in the world that just there's just a different frequency.
Okay, you can say that.
But Sedona, I have just found it's a whole nother.
The natives didn't live there. It was a place that they visited.
They traveled to
ritual, and ceremony, and
one of my PTSD assisted therapy modalities was out there, and it was hands down the most powerful one I ever had.
Yeah.
I mean, I came back from that and wrote like 50 pages of what's going to be like the next book but I think you're right. There's a lot of there's a lot of like transient population.
It's extremely
People
transient.
come in for something and then they leave. And then they
Especially anybody in the age group that I was operating in at that time. They had either lived there their whole life and didn't really have the urge to see the world in a bigger way. So there was a lack of connection there for me with that age group. And then the group that I would really get along with was there for 2 days in their van. And then they're out.
Right.
I made amazing friends, but then they're gone. And, I've seen maybe one of them since. Yeah. So.
But that's the other good thing about like today's, social media and connectivity.
We're still all connected.
You can, it's much easier to check in with people versus I remember, did you get to go to the Grand Canyon when you were out there?
Yeah. Did a Grand Canyon trip.
The Grand Canyon is one of I've been very fortunate to, I've been to all 7 continents. I haven't seen all the national parks. I've seen quite a few, but I've seen like all the 8 wonders of the world. So I've seen quite a few different things, but the Grand Canyon was one thing that just did not disappoint. Like I remember seeing like Machu Picchu and wow, this is like really cool, but it didn't, I guess the expectation met the reality, right? Same thing with the pyramids. Although the pyramids is really interesting because you think that, have you ever been to Egypt?
No.
So in my mind, the pyramids were like hours away in the middle of the desert that you had to like travel out to, and part of it would be by car, part of it would be by camel, and then maybe
built them right on.
And no, it's like,
right there.
I was staying in the Sofitel, and I got in the car, they're like, oh, they're right there. I was like, oh, okay. So when you see the pyramids like on TV, you only ever see them from like one vantage point. If you turn around, there's like a Starbucks and a McDonald's, like a 9-iron away.
Throw you for a loop.
But when I was in college, a bunch of us went to the Bahamas for spring break.
Okay.
And while we were either flying there or flying back, there was like a men's journal in like the seat back pocket. And one of the things it said to do before you die was like ride a convertible and drive cross country.
And you did that?
So when I graduated college, my graduation gift from my parents was they rented me a convertible and let me drive cross country.
That's so
and my parents had a timeshare in Sedona. So me and my buddy, we packed up the car in Philly and we drove down 95. And then cut across I-40 and hit, Nashville and Memphis and then went up to Arizona and then went out to LA and then came back. But one of my friend's dads was like, when you go to the Grand Canyon, and if anybody's ever going to the Grand Canyon, I highly recommend you doing this. But get there at night, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And there's this part of it called the West Rim Abyss, where you're sitting on the west side, so you're sitting on the east side, but you're facing west. And you're sort of sitting there, and I'm sure it's changed now, but like back in the day, there was just like this little rope that went around the ledge that said like, don't cross. And so you're sitting there with like your feet like dangling off the edge, and like we're smoking and drinking and having a good time. But then the sun starts coming up behind you. And so it starts revealing all the different layers of the Grand Canyon in front of you. And
all those colors.
And just keeps going and going. So at one point you're just like sitting there with and then you're like starting to back up. You're like, whoa, like I'm not. But it was like one of the most.
Sounds visceral.
It was one of the first times that I really felt that the world is bigger than we know. Because it was just awe-inspiring. Like it just keeps going down. And you're like, wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. Definitely make you feel small.
And then I got to base jump off it.
Oh, that'll definitely make you feel small too.
I base jumped off the West Rim Abyss. Ooh, this is way before I was in the service, before I had like gone to airborne school or anything.
Wow.
And it was,
And you were still, nimble and it was
my knees still worked.
Everything was working well.
It was like 90 seconds down and like, 2 days up. But
wow.
It was one of the best experiences I'd ever had in my life.
That's a
and then we went from
gift.
there to Vegas and
for
Vegas
yourself too.
Yeah. No, it was absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
I really enjoyed that trip a lot.
I've done a few long road trips, but nothing quite all the way across the country yet.
Well, we talked about this the other day. Like we both have like a love for driving.
I love to drive.
Yeah, I think it's one of the.
My partner not so much.
Really?
No.
No?
No, he's not a driver. Like he even just
think
to
a
go to
fireman would just
Dallas.
enjoy being in a truck, but no, he's like, no, just a short drive to the fire, and that's back to the
just
house.
to the fire and back to the station.
Yeah, it's like,
No, like I can do those long road trips. I've driven to Memphis tons of times. Memphis is a really fun
I've
place.
actually had to drive cross country a couple different times. I had a client.
Call me next time.
I absolutely will. I had this is back when I was like on the protective side of the house with this client who really wealthy family, but his partner didn't like to fly. So we would, but they had a boat in Florida. They lived in Santa Barbara. So we would, a couple times a year, they would drive from Santa Barbara to Florida with like a motorcade, a couple buses, couple SUVs.
Yeah,
and so we've done that a couple times, then we'd drive them back. And then
up.
there was a couple times where I just would, and this is, early days of like the internet and cell phones where you could just go off the grid.
Oh, 100%.
And you could just like drive from
Was that crazy?
here to there. And I would just sit there and just like dictate notes to myself and just basically just live journal and sing along to Pearl Jam. And it was great. I loved it.
Good 90s, early 2000s times.
It was the best. Have you heard of this concept? I think it's called like musical nostalgia.
I have it. Whatever that is, I have
like,
it.
If you were from the age of like let's say like 15 to 25, like that era of music when you're like coming into your own really imprints into you. And so if you're whatever you're going on in your, or whatever is going on in your life after that, if you just want to have like just get in the car, put the with the system down and my finger up and just it really does work.
Yeah, it's a visceral experience, 100%.
Quite.
I think I listened to a lot of country because we rodeoed and
new country, old country.
Well, at that point
Texas
in time,
country?
it was
olderish
country, and the Texas country like Kevin Fowler and people like that. My dad was a part owner in Nutty Brown Cafe and Amphitheater, so yeah, we were there every weekend.
What did your dad do? He had his hands in so many cool things. He lived so many places.
He's just a business owner. He owned the Subway Valero gas station that's in Dripping Springs. If you're heading out towards Johnson City, on the left there, 290. So Mom managed the Subway growing up. Dad ran the store. He had two other Valeros before that, which used to be Shamrock.
Oh, right.
So they used to, be the Shamrocks, and he had like a little country Sears store at one point in Blanco and some storage facilities, Nutty Brown.
It's crazy how long Sears stores have been around.
Yeah, a long time.
Like a long time.
Yeah,
like
I was watching a little tiny one in Blanco.
Yeah, I was watching like Deadwood. Have you seen like the old Deadwood? David Milch wrote it. It was on HBO like way back in the day, but it was about the gold rush in the Dakotas in like the 1800s. And there was literally a Sears catalog back then when they would people could order like pickaxes and tents and like stuff for the general store
that you like really need.
It was like, and it would come on they had a telegraph. And then would come on a train like 6 months later. Maybe.
Yeah, the original Amazon. Telegraph my order.
Jeff Bezos was like, hey, if we can do this with books, we can do it with everything.
Yeah, we can do it with everything.
Right.
I remember getting Netflix in the mail with DVDs. I told that to
we used to share our queues.
Some kids the other day.
That was
they were
when
like,
I learned
what
a queue was.
Yeah, they were like, you had to order your movies and then you put them into a machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was no smart TVs.
Yeah, everyone that killed Blockbuster.
It did, rip.
Right.
We had in Dripping Springs had a little movie store growing up.
Those were we had the same thing. We eventually got a Blockbuster that was kind of like a half hour away.
Yes.
So I grew up in Philly, but I went to high school like up in the Poconos. So the Poconos back then was still very rural to somewhat suburban.
Yeah.
But there were like little pockets of more, upwardly mobile towns that would have like an Applebee's or a Best Buy, and there was like a
more mainstream.
There was a Blockbuster there. But I would always
it's always such a big deal. You're like, I
would spend hours just looking at all the different, and then you get really excited about a movie, and then you go to move the box and realize it was just empty behind it. There was nothing, and then you get a returns. Do you have any in there? Oh yeah, there was like a whole
The hustle.
ecosystem. There was a whole like
And then
you had to be friends with someone who worked
when it
there,
was
so
the
they would hold
VHSs,
something.
you had to rewind it at the end.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you didn't, you went to the VHS and it was at the end of the movie already, and you're like, oh.
We had that little. It was like a little race car. Like it flipped up and you put it in there, and then when you close the race car, it would like auto rewind
Oh, that's nice.
the thing.
Fancy.
Yeah. Oh,
It's real fancy.
real fancy.
We didn't have those in the country.
No, it's crazy how fast
So
things have
fast.
changed.
Really. Yeah, digital detox retreat probably in the near future.
Do you do that? Do you do like because
Do I myself do digital detox?
yeah, because I'm a big believer that like the garbage we put into our minds is worse than the junk we put into our bodies.
Absolutely.
And that if you don't have a really well thought out media diet in terms, and also a healthy like nutritional diet, you can do much more damage to yourself.
Yeah.
And so I've
the two go really well together too.
yeah,
You know?
there's been a couple times anytime I walk my dog, don't take my phone.
There you go. That's
And-
little things like that. I turn the Wi-Fi off in the house every night.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just getting that 15 minutes of sunlight in the morning, then checking my phone.
Yeah.
Those are daily practices, but to do a full weekend where you might be putting your phone away and you're not bringing out, you might even turn the Wi-Fi off in your house for the whole weekend. Any of that.
Talk to me about your daily ritual. What do you do? How do you get your day started?
Well, recently we're working on a little bit of mental reprogramming. So we've got some.
We as you and Forrest.
We is me, myself, and my highest self.
I like it. Me, myself, and I went into the kitchen to eat some pie.
And Forrest too, my partner. He has a very chaotic schedule right now. So the more that I can stay on track with myself and my mental health, it's just benefiting the union right now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing some prosperity and wealth and self-esteem affirmations. Spotify is a great resource for that.
Is that guided?
Yeah, it's literally somebody's just speaking affirmations. There's this one woman, and I couldn't name it right now, but she's got Australian accent, and I love listening to her. She's got that no.
I have my Siri programmed to an Australian accent.
Yeah, so that's really comforting for me, and it's just saying probably about 30 to 40 affirmations over and over again for about an hour and a half. And so I'll put that on for making tea or electrolytes in the morning. On cook days, and it's like straight to the grocery store, getting all the ingredients. We'll be ramping up a little bit more on grocery runs. I'll start to do some more recipe videos and starting a YouTube channel.
That'll be fun.
That'll be really fun. We just moved into a new house, so I have a really great bright lit kitchen with countertops and a good backsplash, and kind of feels like everything's really coming together to start filming some content. I get recipe requests all the time. Recipes aren't really something I use, and so when people ask me for recipes, it's a good challenge for me to be like, okay, I need to go back and make this and write everything down because I don't measure stuff. Sometimes I'm just a dash of this,
right?
a dash
My
of
grandma was
that.
the same way. Even my mother, it's like a dash of this, a pinch of that. I go, hey mom, what's? She's like, I don't know, it's a little of this and it's a little of that. I'm like, that doesn't help me.
Yeah,
like,
and you stir it and you blow on it, and
well, because there's a difference between cooking is art, baking is science.
Yeah, baking you gotta measure.
Right, like if you want to make cookies, it's not a pinch of this, it's not a dash of that. It's a quarter cup of this, it's a tablespoon. It's a science.
Yeah.
Cooking is
Freeform.
It's a little love, it's a little you. It's
if you add a little bit too much of this, you can add maybe a little bit more of this and balance it out.
Little salt, sweet, fat.
Yeah, I'm a salty girl, so I never was much of for the baking. Yeah.
What do you enjoy cooking the most? Let me rephrase that question. Would you rather make breakfast or dinner?
Dinner.
Okay. Which would you rather eat?
Dinner.
Okay.
I'm not a breakfast person.
No. So I'm a breakfast person.
I can make a great breakfast though.
Making a great breakfast is
make pretty good omelet, pretty good eggs Benedict.
I've never been in a relationship where I wasn't the cook.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But I love that for them.
I love that for them too.
Yeah.
But I wonder what it'd be like to be in a relationship where I wasn't
you can
the
put
better.
it on your manifestation list for your ethereal partner.
You know what? I'm going to do that right now. I've been doing this.
Is equally in the kitchen as much as I am.
I was at Jay Carver's 2 weeks ago feeling like I was the wife in The Sixth Sense, because I was sitting there having a conversation with my soon-to-be partner that wasn't actually there.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, you know.
Thankfully, I've been there enough that they know I'm not crazy.
That's a great place for a date.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good job taking her out there.
Shout out to Jay Carver's for not judging you as sitting alone at a bed.
They will never judge you.
No.
It's a nice, cozy little spot.
It's my favorite restaurant in Austin.
Yeah. Let me know when you go next time. I would love to join you.
Absolutely.
It's hard to pick a place to go eat in Austin sometimes. All the options.
There's so many good options.
Yeah, anything you want.
Do you have a favorite?
That was something that was tough about living in Sedona and Jackson Hole, is that you've got 5 restaurants. 2 of them might be open on a given day.
Right.
Everything closes at 7.
Mm-hmm.
If you're hungry, the grocery store closes at 9. You're out of luck.
Yeah. Do you, when you're speaking of grocery stores, do you enjoy grocery shopping? Mm-hmm. See, that's the one thing about COVID that just rocked my world was. No, it was just, but my routine was I would go to the gym, then I would go to Whole Foods, and I would go to one for dinner that night. And now I just can do it on my phone. Mm-hmm. Like having food delivered and groceries delivered and pretty much everything delivered is fantastic, except for when like I order blueberries and they bring me blackberries.
Yeah, those little things.
That gets really frustrating. Or when I ask for like the 1 liter bottles of water and they bring me like the little baby water. So I'm like, I cannot drink a baby water.
Yeah, this is not for me.
Big.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a Whole Foods, H-E-B?
Things. I love Whole Foods. A couple red flags there recently with some, genetically modified ingredients on all of their pre-prepared foods.
Yeah. Who was I talking to? Oh,
a lot of people are talking about it, right?
Khalil was just talking about this the other day about, because at Sun Life Organic, he ensures that every single ingredient is actually organic, because he had been somewhere. I think this was actually one of the catalysts that I think got him to start Sun Life, is that he was going to this one juice bar every day in LA, and always got the same thing every day. Went and had developed a rapport with the people, and one day like needed to wash his hands or something, and went behind the counter and saw, from China or from this or from that. He's like, hey, I thought this was all organic. It was like, oh no, by law, as long as like a couple of the ingredients were organic, you can say made with organic ingredients. And I was just like, oh.
Big loophole there.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's good to go to that trusted source, which most cases this day and age is your own kitchen.
Yeah, there's my friend Jenna Breslin, like she's doing this whole like resilience thing where they're doing growing food and raising animals Goals. And doing everything themselves, which is
from scratch.
And it's it really puts things into perspective, because if you can hunt for an elk, like that elk can feed your family for like a year,
very long time.
But like your garden, you might get a salad or two. So you really.
Gardening's not for the weak.
No, it's not.
Not
my dad was bon ami, had a great green thumb and had a garden in our yard until like the day he died. But the amount of effort I would see that man put into just getting a tomato, was the return on investment. Like you have to love it.
I think she grew almost 300 cantaloupe one year. The cantaloupe kind of took over one of our pastures and out in Dripping Springs, and just had cantaloupe for everybody in the town. Yeah.
But like how much space do you need to grow?
We had 2 acres.
Yeah.
We had 2 acres we had 35-ish acres, but we had
in total,
2.
Well, 2 that are dedicated.
Yeah. One of just corn, and then another acre of,
And that's what I think people don't realize. It's like, you're not doing this in your backyard.
No, not at that point in time.
If you have like if you bought a plot with an A-B unit on it, you're not
you can get some tomatoes and some herbs, maybe a lettuce or 2. My really good friend John has a wonderful garden almost every season, and we'll be getting figs and tomatoes and peppers and green beans and snap peas and kale and chard, and it's just wonderful to go over and take stuff straight from the garden. You can't beat that flavor.
Oh, there's nothing better.
Can't beat it.
I mean, I'm not a big I'm not
salad guy.
No, I enjoy a salad
Okay.
as long as it has like steak on it.
Yeah, as long as there's.
But like
beef
my mom
involved.
and my sisters like love like a Jersey tomato. And we would
Okay.
like drive down to like my grandparents' beach house, and there would always be this like farmer's market like halfway down,
Mhm.
and it was like fresh corn and fresh and like that
Delicious.
kind of stuff was just, it's so hard to find now.
Yeah, I really love to source from the farmer's market. Back to your question, anything I can get at the farmer's market on Saturdays or Sundays.
Which farmer's market do you go to?
I've recently been going to Mueller since I've
Okay.
moved back
Yeah.
because it's all new and huge and exciting, and they have raw milk there. They've
Oh,
got
really?
a bunch of interesting herbs instead of just like the traditional ones that you're using. They have the one over at the Barton Creek Mall that's
Yeah,
great
I've seen that
too.
one.
Usually get a lot of.
Those are those Saturdays and Sundays, or is it Saturdays?
I think that one's Saturday, and then Mueller's on Sunday. Before I moved, I went to the downtown one, and that one's really shrank since I've come back. It's been quite a bit
I
smaller.
wonder if it's shrank just because of their.
Could be seasonal.
Could be seasonal. I also wonder like how much the government is paying them to not. grow
Yeah, there's
something.
a lot of construction down
Right,
there. You know, it's
because-
right in the middle of downtown
Yeah.
Republic Square Park. So, yeah, I get as much as I can from the farmers market, and then I'm directly next to Sprouts, so I go
Sprouts is
there.
great, yeah.
Sprouts is wonderful. Sprouts and Trader Joe's are having a lot of dignity still in like what product they.
I always get a kick out of the Trader Joe's just how they name things.
Oh, they're great.
Right.
They're so much fun. It's not necessarily the most budget friendly when I'm working for meal
Oh,
prep.
no, well, even Whole Foods.
Yeah, those aren't the
I
most
walk into
budget
Whole Foods
friendly.
and whether I get an apple
And then a water.
or something, it's $150. I've never walked out of there for less than $150. It's like no matter what it is, it's $150.
Yeah.
I got two things are $150.
Mhm. Yeah, Sprouts is probably my go-to. And I went through a good run of HEB once I moved back to Texas. I was like, oh my god, HEBs
I can't wait for
really are
this
great.
new HEB that is about to open. That
Yeah, right by Travis Heights, right?
yeah, right at Old Torf in South Congress. I don't know how the traffic is going to be there, but that was like the HEB of broken dreams.
Oh man, it was
That
so rough.
It was,
I still remember the color of the floor.
yeah, because you could see it.
It's so rough.
Like the
The
linoleum
lights
had
and
like
it was
like
peeling.
dripping, and like I think there was always someone getting shot or stabbed or
Growing up, we went to the one in Oak Hill. We didn't have a HEB in Dripping Springs, so we came into Austin and went to the one in Oak Hill.
Yeah.
And that was less of a broken dream at that point.
Yeah, I liked how they just gave different names to all the different HEBs for what their occurrences
Yeah,
were.
it's gonna be nice when they finish that one.
I was going to be insane.
I even like some of like the little small town little markets that you'll see there on South Congress. They
Yeah,
have those
that was
little-
something
little
we had.
shops. Those
We
are-
had growing up. We had like little town and country. It was literally called
Oh.
Town and Country.
Oh,
and
they're
it was
just so cute.
It was 6 aisles. Like,
Yeah.
but you knew the butcher.
Mm-hmm.
You knew you knew the lady.
Yeah.
Did you see that meme that came out the other day about because you know how like the Trader Joe's people they're always like super friendly at checkout, and they're like, she's like, I didn't realize they were flirting with everyone. I thought they were only flirting with me. She got all upset about it
You have to
because
send it to me.
it was pretty funny. So I was talking to a lecturer in Elise, and they were saying that you have hosted and catered some of their events. What is your ideal event to cater?
Retreats in general, where you're having a multi-day sleepover experience with this group of strangers who become really good friends. That's the most impactful. You're just getting the most face value with people. And like as a chef, I really steered away from cooking in restaurants, like what we were talking about earlier with like the organized chaos.
Right.
I was like, I kind of want like calm moments of chaos might arise, but like I'm not wanting to work in a restaurant environment. I want the food to be prepared in a way where it's actually nourishing our bodies. So there's a lot of energy and mental that I put into it,
Right.
which is the most received and impactful at a retreat because the people are there, they're open, they're ready to receive, they're ready to grow, they're ready to feel held, they're ready to feel taken care of. And I get to sit down and eat with them sometimes, which is
that's
usually
nice.
just not the case in a lot of private events I'm working. So yeah, retreats of any kind are the best.
I would also think that you would want the food at the retreats to be in alignment with like the mission of the retreat, right? You don't want to have a retreat that's working on connecting to self and restoring
We're having
energy,
pizza.
and then we're having pizza and chips here in the back
No, that's
afterwards.
why I'm
right?
there.
It's going to be completely unnerving.
Completely elevated menu at all my events. I don't like boring food. I don't like to eat the same thing every day, like you were saying. So even on my meal prep menu, I'll have 3 to 4 options every single week. So you could order 4 different meals and you're only having that same meal twice if you're getting 5 meals. Diversity and keeping it exciting. Food should never be boring. Eating should never be boring. And if it is something that we don't think enriches our life, then we're might be being affected by all the environmental talks and all the other stuff. But if you're not eating those high quality ingredients, it's affecting your mental health. It's affecting your physical health. It's affecting your emotional health. It's affecting your spiritual health.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
it's a whole domino effect.
It really wasn't until I started training with Kelly that I realized when they say like 85% of your competition is diet. I was like, no, it's not.
Yeah,
it's
there's
like,
no way.
I could
and then the other 20% is yourself. Is your diet, and then also
it's crazy how much better you feel when what you're putting into your body is clean, which is really nice.
Yeah.
How many on the food prep side? Like, let's say I'm someone who is trying to track macros or is trying to stay like at a certain either calorie surplus or a calorie deficit. Are each meals around the same amount of calories, or are they some more, some less?
Some more, some less, because a lot of them are going to be paleo friendly. So there'll be a cauliflower rice instead of white rice with bone broth, and those are really the only 2 rices that that I use. There might sometimes be a pasta everything's gluten free in every meal prep always. So there might be some type of gluten free pasta, but most of the time we might be using zucchini noodles. So if it is a person that is trying to maybe get some more calories and get more gains, that's just an adjustment we make for their particular meal prep. And they want a base of rice instead of greens for all their meals, or vice versa.
Yeah, I didn't realize how much, because I was eating a lot of rice. It was probably, so I basically do like beef and eggs and like some kind of like avocado toast or something for breakfast. Protein shake, another protein shake, like after my workout, probably have another workout shake like from like Sun Life like later in the day. And then my dinner would pretty much be like a rice, broccoli, chicken, steak, fish type of thing. And I was starting to lean out, and I didn't realize how much rice I was really eating. And then Kelly was like, well, try switching out the rice for sweet potato.
That's a great option.
Made a huge difference.
Yeah.
Also, sweet potato tastes great.
Lean up real fast.
Yeah. I didn't realize that what that little bit of a difference could make in a diet.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a heavy carb, especially if you're eating it at night. If you're speaking of carbs, it's not the heaviest carb. It's a nice, healthy way to get it. There's some certain science that I don't know everything about, but even just having the rice staying in the fridge, or the pasta staying in the fridge overnight, it changes the way the body breaks that down, so it does become more compatible with you. So for some people, it's great for meal prep. For other people, they're cauliflower rice, greens only, and we just cook to serve case by case.
Right.
Yeah.
Where did you learn to cook? Just trial and error, just these two hands. I mean, that's
these 2 hands and this brain. I'm really inspired by imagery, so I'll go through Pinterest. Usually, if I'm trying to create a menu for an event, I'll be going through there and I'll see, something that I'm like, yes, and then I'll make my own rendition of that, not using recipes. That's just like a fun little way to do it, a fun little project.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, that's my favorite thing to cook. Go in, get the freshest thing you can find. What's at the butcher counter that they're like, this is it today. And you just start building from there.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then
organic.
just because I was one of those things where like I was never like a cookbook or a recipe guy, but I really enjoyed spending like all the time that I got to spend in kitchens watching like other chefs cook. And then there was a good 2-3 years where I was just like addicted to everyday Italian. Watching Gianna De Laurentiis like cook and just watching her just like, this is pancetta and we're going to put this in the pot and we're going to put this in. And I was like, oh, I want all of that. Just,
and it's all beautiful and already chopped and ready. Yeah, it can't beat a good cook show.
Right. Yeah. I was like, how do I get everything just food prepped for me? Like, don't make the meal, just have everything. Right. Exactly. I love that.
I'll be sure to bring some by for you next.
Oh, I'm already on board. I can't wait to give them a try.
Okay.
The one thing I did want to talk to you about was the 28-day reset program that you're bringing up. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Well, I've got a digital product that I'm creating called the 28 Days Reset Program.
Love it.
And that'll be more of a journal format. So they'll be printable or digital. That's kind of a life reset. That's geared towards what kind of habits and routines do you have that you're doing every single day. And having this physical checklist has really helped me in coming along that journey. So that is going to be a product that comes out by the end of the year. And then I also have a meal prep reset program. So that's the summer reset program right now.
Okay.
And that's 4 weeks of meal prep delivered to your home. So it is for Austin locals only. You get some holistic health tips, recipes upon request. We've got some fresh juices, paleo desserts, and little immunity shots, gut healing shots, brain booster shots, all made with organic, fresh pressed juice. Everything's always gluten-free, always organic, always wild-caught, grass-fed, hormone-free. So this is the final week to order Summer Reset because it is a whole month long. So some of my past clients have lost anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds just doing that one month of it. Usually that they're doing lunch and dinner, so getting a nice discount on getting all your meals at once, and then you don't for a month have to worry about your meals at all. Everything's brought fresh to your door every Monday. And we'll start the fall reset in September. So August 1st is the last day for summer reset, and then we'll transition over to fall, and that will be a different menus, different healing properties, seasonal menu to help with that change. That's when we get sick the most, is between seasons.
Really?
So to kind of just like help everybody come into, these are the juices and stuff we need to be drinking in fall. These are the vegetables and stuff we're going to have on the menu, and just kind of getting our body in line with the seasons.
I never realized that, but it does make perfect sense. Like you go from like hot to cold, all of a sudden you're going to get a cold. It goes, because anytime I start getting like a head cold, it's usually when it's like really warm for a bunch of days. Like you always see this like in fall into spring, or spring into fall, or summer into fall,
or anytime in Texas.
Yeah, or if you don't like the weather in Texas, just wait 15 minutes because it's going to change. That's really funny.
But we'll be doing a spring, winter, summer, fall for the foreseeable future. It gives about a 10% discount per week off your meal prep, so it makes it a little bit more approachable.
Yeah.
And it's just a great option. We can do a personalized menu as well. So if you're got some serious autoimmune disease, if you're dealing with, I've cooked for some cancer survivors, which has always been such a pleasure. It's a completely different menu than what I provide. Yeah. So we'll do personalized menus and whatever you need to get back on track with your health.
This is really fascinating. I love it so much. I end every podcast by asking my guests 5 questions.
Let's do it.
So I'm going to ask your 5 right now. Question number 1. When you were a kid growing up, what is an activity or something that you could do or like to do that you could just get lost in?
Well, we had horses and I rodeoed, so playing horse was a big one. And we had
were you playing the horse?
I was when I wasn't on a horse, I was a horse.
You were pretending to be a horse.
It's probably the most channeled animal of my lifetime. The horse. Very powerful animal. But
were you like a black stallion, or were you like the white steed?
Oh no, I was definitely the black stallion. My brother was named after the little boy from that movie.
Really?
The black stallion from the 80s, Alec. And then I was also like the number one performance horse in the world.
Of course you were.
Yeah, like we won everything.
Yeah, naturally.
And we would go out, we would take the dog and we would go out. We'd be lost in the woods right behind the house for 4 hours. Yeah. It was definitely like you hear the dinner bell, come home lifestyle.
Now, would you come back into the house as the horse, or would you have to transform back into... Sometimes.
Depending on the mood. They accepted me.
It's good to be loved.
They accepted me.
It's good to be loved. Question number 2. This is something that every guest gets. Aliens. Fact or fiction?
They're here.
Oh, they're here, walking among us?
Yes.
Okay.
Or trapped at Area 51 or
are they
other
friendly?
places.
Are they evil? Are they here to divide and conquer? Are they here to help us
all
ascend?
Different kinds of beings.
This is true.
Yeah, there's many different types. Just like all the humans, there's many other beings out there, all with those different goals and purposes.
I like it. You touched on something earlier that I wanted to include in this question. What is something that no longer serves you, but that you have a hard time giving up?
Something that I guess I processed. We were speaking about Sedona. That was a huge coming into adulthood for me. While I had this really wonderful childhood and horses and excitement and travel, when my parents got divorced, I got to see the other side of the coin that I had been living on top of. And bankruptcy, divorce, not speaking to my father for years on end, not speaking to my mother for years on end at different times. And I really got to experience that. I didn't ever get that consistent, safe space to find myself under my own pace, my own idealism, my own process. And both my parents are alcoholics, and they've been in AA for 38 plus years. So I saw the other side of that coin a little bit later in life too. And I didn't have the consistency that I really needed to advance in life. And I had become stuck in the pattern of hoping people would take care of me and hoping that, daddy would show up and that mommy would protect me if daddy wasn't being nice. And all of those things. When I moved to Sedona and I had no one and I wasn't making any friends and, I was one with the red rocks, I think that's kind of when just that sense of self.
Yeah.
That you feel more deeply than when you started to figure out about consciousness and awareness and all of when you kind of started being like, oh, there's all these different ideas out there. That was really the embodiment of the ideas for me.
I like that.
Yeah. Leaving home does change you. It make you grow up.
We all grow up.
Yeah.
Question number 4.
Okay.
You have a time machine. You can go back in time to any time you want. Can't change anything.
Okay.
Can't kill Hitler.
I know.
But you can experience whatever you want. You can see whatever you want.
I know.
Okay. Where are you going?
We're going to Woodstock.
Really?
Absolutely.
No one has ever given that answer.
Was it the summer of 69?
Summer of Love, yeah.
Woodstock. Hands down. Wish I would have been there.
I would have loved to have seen Jimi Hendrix perform the Star Spangled Banner like that. That would have blown my mind.
My dad said he saw Bob Marley once when he was younger, and I just can't conceptualize that. Like, really?
That's cool. Woodstock's a great answer.
Yeah, Woodstock.
I've
Absolutely.
gotten like, I want to go back and see my parents' wedding. I want to go back and see the pyramids get built. I want to go back and like spend a day with Churchill.
Oh, there's never going to be a Woodstock. There's that was a
tried.
moment in time. And yeah,
it failed miserably.
You just can't. Sometimes it's that astrological space and time with the right people and the right minds coming together. And there's Burning Man.
Have you done Burning Man?
I have done Burning Man. I haven't been since COVID.
I've done it twice.
Same.
But I was working it, so it's not really the same.
I was not working.
Yeah, I wasn't
It's
partaking.
my birthday week.
Oh, really?
So
Are you going this year?
I've had my birthday at Burning Man twice, and that's pretty hard to top that.
There's a crew of people we know going out this year again.
Well, if y'all ever need a chef or a camp looking for a chef.
Oh, actually, they might. I will let you know.
That's if I'm going to work at Burning Man, that I would love to be the chef for a camp or the sous chef for a camp.
I like that. I like that a lot. Last question, and we'll get you out here on this. What would you like your legacy to be?
That she was kind and she took care of me.
I like that.
To be the mother. Yeah.
Do you want kids?
Mm-hmm.
How many?
3.
3. 3's good because it teaches them politics. Right?
2 is probably what's going to happen, but I'd love
1
3.
is just going to be a shit. 2, someone's going to be the favorite because that's just the way it works. But 3 teaches them politics, right? Because you're going to have 2
You need that third party.
At some point.
Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much. If people want to learn more, if they want to get in touch with you about the Origin Healing Method, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, email.
We're on Instagram.
We're on the Instagram.
We're on the Instagram, origin.healingmethod.
Okay.
It's also linked through my personal Instagram, which is Miss Greenery.
Okay.
And then our website, which is going to have all the information that you could possibly need and all the contact pages, depending on if you're needing to submit your meal prep order or if you want a quote for an event or you want more information on our reset programs. That's all on the website.
Okay, wonderful.
originhealingmethod.com.
We'll put it all in the show notes.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was wonderful.
Thank you.
I appreciate you.
Yes, this was really great.